We're back with Think Tank Central. This week, we're focusing on a new think tank in Israel, the Jerusalem Institute for Strategic Studies, JISS, which aims to promote a conservative strategic worldview for shaping government policy and public opinion. And with me in the studio is Professor Efraim Inbar, who served 25 years as director of the Begin Sadat Center for Strategic Studies before moving on to become president of this new organization. Efraim, welcome.
Good to be here.
So tell us about your vision for JISS.
I think that, first of all, we should recognize that the Israeli public is generally conservative, and however it is bombarded by dovish messages from a variety of think tanks. So the first job of our new institute is to reinforce the conservative instincts of the Israeli public.
And tell us about public opinion. Your institute conducted a poll recently?
We just conducted a poll about Jerusalem. Interestingly, almost 75% of the Israelis are not willing to give up the Temple Mount within an arrangement or a peace treaty with the Palestinians. And as long as the Palestinians insist on the division of Jerusalem, this is a true obstacle to peace.
Now, you've written a recent commentary, I think it was titled, Only Use of Force Can Stop Iran. This is a very harsh view that you're urging unilateral Israeli action to halt the deal? Yeah,
I think that the Iranians are determined to get a bomb, and nothing will stop them unless somebody uses force to put an end to the nuclear infrastructure. The idea of negotiating a new deal is not a good idea because they will not be willing to sign a better deal, as it's called. Actually, they signed the only deal that was good for them, that allows them in many ways to progress on the nuclear path, and they are doing so, and it is a very bad deal, and they are not going to renegotiate it. Oh, they may be willing to renegotiate for many years. They are the best bargainers in the world.
As bad as that deal is, though, is it realistic and even responsible, Efraim, to urge unilateral Israeli military action? All the experts say that it will, at the very best case, only delay the program by a year or so.
I think it's irresponsible to allow the Iranians to get to a nuclear bomb. Basically, the deal only delays this possibility for several years. And even if it's true that an Israeli strike will obstruct further progress for some period, I think time should be used. And if they develop again, we should strike again.
Now, you made, at the beginning of our interview, you made allusion to center-left-leaning think tanks. I'm wondering if it was coincidence or by design that your logo, the JISS, is strikingly similar to the INSS, headed by Amos Yadlin, who is no security dove, but has advocated a more inclusive, collaborative means of fixing that bad deal.
Well, I think what is most important in our logo is the gold color, which is Jerusalem of gold. We are in Jerusalem not by chance, by accident. We believe Jerusalem is central to the security of Israel, is central to the mission of the state of Israel, and this is why we chose this color. The rest is not that important.
Coincidental.
Yes.
Now, it's
but
interesting.
I would like to add that despite the fact that I, of course, respect General Yadlin, but his center is advocating unilateral Israeli withdrawals from Jerusalem, from the West Bank, and also the division of Jerusalem, which in my view is a terrible...
diametrically opposed to your worldview. Well, let's talk about Jerusalem. Your organization aims to lobby more in Israel to shape Israeli policy and Israeli public opinion, correct?
Right, because I believe that the struggle over the future of Israel will eventually be decided by the Israelis and not by some organizations that believe that it will be American pressure or European pressure or outside pressure that will move Israel into a certain direction. Eventually, the Israelis will make the decision, and therefore we are concentrating on Hebrew language publications and conferences in Hebrew to make clear to the Israelis that their basic conservative instincts are correct.
Although Israel is not an island, as you well know, in this globally linked society, and Israel needs allies, diplomatic allies, political, even military allies worldwide.
Of course.
How do you reconcile those two?
I don't think that, for example, a strike on Iran will be greatly objected by the United States or by any other power. Everybody will clap. Finally, we are doing the job for them, as we did it in Iraq in 1981, as we did it in Syria in 2007. This type of attacks on renegade regimes will be actually welcomed, and despite the politically correct discourse which is used today.
Will you maintain, as you had at the Begin Sadat Center, contacts with the U.S. security establishment, with the NATO community? Because I hardly think that they will be applauding a unilateral Israeli action on Iran.
I think they will applaud it in private. There is a difference between what it is being said in public and what in closed rooms is discussed.
And what makes you say that? So many people are worried about the chain reaction that it would provoke for a wider regional war.
I think that we should be more worried about the possibility of Iran having a nuclear bomb, as the price to be paid by an unilateral strike is small in comparison to the price we may pay by a nuclear attack.
But what about the price that the, Efraim, I don't mean to badger you, but the price that the world will have to pay if the Iranians block shipping in the Persian Gulf or threaten interests worldwide?
First of all, from my acquaintance with the material, the Americans probably will be able to open the Gulf Straits, the Hormuz Straits, in 2 weeks. This shouldn't be a problem. And I must admit that the oil problem of the world is less of a concern to me than the safety and security of the Israeli citizens.
Let's move on to Turkey and India. When you were at the Begin Sadat Center, you established joint strategic programs with those two countries. Will you be involved in that type of...
Definitely. I think that our contacts, my contacts in India and Turkey, of course, now less, were seminal for developing the good relationship between Israel and India. We've seen the visit of President Modi just a few months ago, a very successful visit. I was actually invited by him in recognition of my contribution to the relationship, and this is an excellent relationship. We should also be aware that the strategic environment has been changing. The U.S. is less felt in Asia, and there is a rising challenge on part of China, and they need allies, they need technology.